What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, weekly real estate tip. And today we're going to do a deep dive into growing your real estate business with YouTube. We're going to do a step-by-step guide here of breaking this down of how do you create your channel, how do you optimize your channel, what type of content to create, how to create that content, how to upload it, how to optimize it. We're covering A to Z here in this podcast here. So this step-by-step YouTube guide, this applies to real estate agents, team leaders, brokerage owners, and really it doesn't matter if you're tied to the real estate space or not. This will be highly effective for allowing you to go out there and optimize your YouTube channel and kick ass and grow and succeed through growing your YouTube channel. All right. So first off is why YouTube? All right. So the obvious here is, Google, #1 search engine on the planet. YouTube, #2 search engine on the planet. Google owns YouTube. So obviously, if you got to have awareness. I mean, the whole point at the end of the day of a YouTube channel is awareness and list building, meaning you're getting more people to have exposure of you, getting them to be aware of who you are, what you do for a living, all of those things, and then offering things of value. So they reach out, whether that be they're opting in for something or they contact you directly, and so forth. It's awareness and list building, right? With that. The other thing that I love about YouTube is the leads are extremely high quality. People then, as they're going through, they get to know you, they develop that connection with you. At least in the real estate game, the game is get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, keep your message in front of them frequently, and or follow up with them frequently, and your business continues to grow. So it's a great way to go out there and get that awareness and get them to know, like, and trust you. Obviously, they're going to have awareness of what you do for a living through the consistent content that you're pushing out there and creating. You're solving problems for them, and so forth, but they get to know you. They get to know your personality. They have this connection with you, and so forth. I mean, they are the highest quality leads and lead source that I've ever witnessed, ever seen, when they reach out and so forth. And then from there, you have very little competition. There's very few people in any niche, any space that are really going to push this. Because the reality is, man, it takes work. It takes focus. I mean, when you're doing videos, man, you got to do your research, and then you got to go out there and take the time to shoot the video. And then, if you're going to be editing, and depending on, what type of content that you're creating, that could be the edit, element of this, then uploading, which we'll go through all of this here, in this step-by-step guide today. But all of this, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. Then from there, it takes a little bit of consistency over time before you really start to see the fruits of your labor. It might take you, 3 months if you're doing it right out of the gate, to start getting, good traction and not just from a content, how many people are viewing and subscribers. I mean, from getting actual leads and getting clients may take 90 days. Average is more that 6 to 9 months. I know some that, it took more like 9 to 12 months before things started really taking off, but are absolutely murdering it right now, to the extent of over $100,000 a month of closings just from their YouTube channel. And I've interviewed them here on the podcast and so forth, through that. All right. So, all right, let's just dive on into the different steps here. So step #1 is create your YouTube channel. Now, as long as all you have to do is have a Gmail. So as long as you got a Gmail, it can be a free Gmail. It can be, a paid Gmail through Google business apps. As long as you have a Gmail, boom, you got a YouTube channel. So when you log into your Gmail, if you click that little, I don't know what it is, it looks like a little Rubik's Cube on the right-hand side by your profile picture. Click on that, you have that drop-down box. Like, where do you go to access Google Drive? Where do you go to access your calendar? If you scroll down in there, you will see your YouTube link for that email. Now, this is really important. And I highly recommend to take this advice here because I've seen it hurt and burn a lot of people. But I highly recommend that you set up your YouTube channel in your own Gmail. So meaning if you've got, a Gmail provided to you through your brokerage, or maybe you're on a team and the team leader provides you a Gmail, do not create your YouTube channel through that Gmail, because if that Gmail ever gets removed, because you don't own it, right? So if that ever gets removed, boom, all your content goes away instantaneously, just like all your Drive documents, all of that stuff. And you cannot, at least that I'm aware of, you cannot easily transfer this stuff over. So it become a huge nightmare, a huge pain in the ass. So just go out there and like have it your own. It doesn't matter if it's a free a Gmail or if it's, a paid business one. It doesn't matter, right? Like nobody's going to see. You get to plug in what email that you want it to go to. So that doesn't matter. Just make sure you're in control of it and that you own it. So then from there, just some quick tips of your initial setup. So when you first log in to your YouTube channel, you're going to be on a page and you're going to see two buttons. You're going to see one that says branding and then one says that manage channel. So when you click on branding in there, that's where you're going to be able to upload, okay, what your profile photo to be. So that's going to be that image, like if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see me inside the studio with a microphone, like whatever that is, a professional headshot, whatever you want for that image. You're going to be able to upload that in there. You're going to be able to upload your cover art in there. Inside there, that's where you can add your kind of your about, your description, channel description. So that's like your about you, about your channel page. You can add on all your contact information, all of your different links, all of that different stuff there. Because on your YouTube banner, as an example, you can show have different links, whether you want them to subscribe to your channel. Maybe you want them to book a calendar call with you, to book a consultation with you. Maybe you want them to drive to your personal website or your social media pages. Like all of that stuff can be set up in that branding section. It's very easy to follow, go through. You can start play with it. Now, when it comes to creating your banner artwork and so forth. And you don't need to spend a ton of time on this, at least not initially. So many people get so caught up in trying to get things to look so pretty, get things to look so perfect initially, like just getting something in there, man. It could just be, it could just be a blank, color banner with your logo in the middle. It doesn't need to be anything fancy to get started. Now you can utilize systems like PicMonkey or Canva. So PicMonkey, PIC, and then Monkey or Canva, that have all the different, like you can choose, a YouTube banner layout and that way, because it's going to show up different and on mobile than it obviously does on desktop because the size differentiation. So it can help you optimize that for it. And I recommend just go hire somebody. I mean, this is what I do. Like, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm building sales businesses, real estate business, and so forth. So I just go out there and outsource. A lot of places on Fiverr, Fiverr, that you can go to and get this stuff done for under $50 or whatever it may be. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So that's the branding section. Then, so again, when you log into your YouTube channel, when your channel's brand new, you're going to see a bunch of blank stuff in there, but you'll see a branding button, and then you'll see a manage content button. When you click on manage content, that's where you'll see all of your content. You get to see your analytics. You can edit your videos, all of that. When you're uploading a new video, you're going to see a plus button at the top. Click that plus button, and then you can upload the video and so forth from there. Now let's break down to, now that you got your channel somewhat set up and so forth. And this is the most important element. Is the content itself and the uploading process, because there's a little bit of a science to this. So I want to dive into this and do a deep dive into this. We're going to spend most of our time here on this podcast guide here of YouTube. But before uploading your content, before you start, not just before you upload your content, but before you start even going through that process and so forth, what I recommend, and this is what I've done, what I always tell my teammates to do, real estate agents on my team, is to get to know the equipment that they utilize. So identify, okay, what are you going to shoot with? Now you can just shoot with, I'm trying to find where my damn phone is. You can just shoot with your iPhone. I mean, the cameras on your phones are epic, are amazing. So if I'm going to shoot with this, well then, okay, well, what mic am I going to use? Am I going to use, kind of a leveler stand, like a gimbal, or, a tripod, with that to hold that there in place so it's more steady. But okay, what am I going to shoot with? So whether it's a DSLR camera, or if you're using a GoPro, or if you're using your phone, any of them are great. And I'm telling you, like, as advanced as these phones are getting, you almost cannot tell the difference. I mean, I have certain cameras that I've paid, I've got like 10 grand plus into with different lenses and, whatever. And really, I can't really tell the difference anymore between shooting on this or shooting on them, and so forth. But get to know the camera. Make sure your mic's good, and you got, because like, to be honest with you, the editing of the video, I find that doesn't really matter so much. As long as if it's great content, if it's valuable content that adds value to people's lives, and the audio is good, you're good to go. So, highly recommend, because you can get like for, $20 lapel mic, whatever, to get good audio, but just, make sure you got that down. Then from there, okay, what are you going to create your thumbnails with? And again, you can use Canva, you can use PicMonkey for these. They have free platforms within there, or you can do the paid platforms. I do paid on both. If you're going to be creating your own thumbnails, or again, you can use a site like Fiverr, Fiverr, and then outsource where you get a thumbnail done for $10, $15, and just have that done, so you're not having to worry about that element. But like, you want to know what your equipment is that you're going to be utilizing, and then lastly, if you're going to be doing editing, with your videos, what type of editing software are you going to use? There's a bazillion different editing types of software out there. Not going to get into that here. There's a lot of great free ones. You know, you can, I mean, there's Filmora. I mean, there's so many of them out there. Just pick and choose which one that you're going to use that makes sense for you, whether it's, you know, iMovie, whether it's, you know, I think iMovie's free if you're a Mac person. If you're using a PC, you know, you have Microsoft Video Editor that's built in, that's free, you know, or do you want to plug into some of these, you know, Camtasia or Filmora or, you know, one of these paid platforms. But then from there, I recommend to just go knock out like 4 or 5, you know, just dummy videos. And what I mean by that is like, while you're just in the backyard having fun, hike it, like whatever, like nobody needs to see these other than you. But it's going to just force you to like go out there, create the thumbnail, do the editing, do the video content, you know, whatever, like just get used to the equipment and so forth. So you're not bogged down by that when it comes to actually creating and releasing your overall content. Okay. So then from there, when it comes to, okay, now creating your content, uploading your content, step number 1 here is the type of content and research that you're going to create. And I'm going to get in deeper and later these different steps of, you know, what we find to be the top performing, you know, different video types and so forth. So I'll go deeper into that, but you want to take the time to go out there and do your research on and be intentional with the type that you're creating. Look, you want to create content that people want, that's in demand, you know, that people are going out there and searching and so forth. A great tool that I utilize that plugs right into YouTube. It's a, you know, plugin. It's called TubeBuddy. So TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy. And it's epic, dude. You know, like I can go in there, I can research titles, I can see what certain competitors are doing, I can see, you know, how the title ranks. It can help me write the title, help me pick the tags, you know, that I use, which we'll talk about here more in a minute. And whether you're using a system like that or not, which is, if you're going to be doing this consistently, I highly, highly recommend it. It's super cheap and it's super effective. It's an awesome system with that, you know, but if you're not going to do that, again, just going out there and doing your due diligence, doing your research. You always want to be well researched before you shoot the video. So before I shoot a video, I'm going to know what the title is. I'm going to have just like this, you know, right? I've got the title written out. I've got all the different bullet points of what I'm talking about here. Now, I'm not writing out all of my scripts. For me, I just have bullet points on all these different, you know, like I'm going to go through 12 different steps here through this guide for you guys. I know I kind of went through some bonus tips in the beginning, but now I got 12 steps on this guide that I'm walking through with you. So I already have this all mapped out. I've already got the description written. I've already got the tags done. I've already done my research on this beforehand. And I'm a big believer in R&D. You know, there's a lot of great YouTube channels out there. You know, great one to go out there and do. That's in my market. Actually, one of, you know, my amazing agent partners on my team, Kimberly Wright, Kim Wright. If you look at, just go on YouTube, look up Living in Arizona, and you'll see Kim Wright, her channel. I mean, does an epic, amazing job. And you know, go out there and R&D, rip off and duplicate, you know, for your market. Obviously, you'll insert your city name versus her name and do your own research and so forth on those things. You know, but you want to have rhyme to the reason. You don't want to just sit there and, oh, what am I going to shoot today? And then just kind of think of it on the fly. So then number 2, when it comes to, you know, the content itself. So before we're uploading, now we got the content itself, the video that itself. I follow a 4-step video content framework. So this is what I follow for every video. I highly recommend this. It's very effective with it. So it starts off with your hook. So this is just going to be the phase of the video. So think of each video that you're creating as 4 different parts. You got your hook, right? So your hook is the attention grabber at the beginning. You know, so an example of this is, you know, instead of talking about, oh, you know, today, hey, Joshua Smith here, XYZ Real Estate. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Phoenix Metro housing market update and what's going on here in July 2022 with the housing market update, you know, right? That might be one way to, you know, that's not a good hook. Like people are gonna be like, okay, so what? Like you want to have that attention grabber. You see this on, you know, when you're watching Netflix or other YouTube, you know, videos, as you watch more YouTube videos, when you know this framework, you'll start to see, you know, how others are applying this, you know, and so forth. But instead, if you led this with, you know, man, interest rates are on the rise, inflation is on the rise, you know, things are going crazy, the market's softening fast, and today we're going to jump into, you know, 2022 housing market, you know, July 2022 housing market update here in Phoenix Metro, right? Like what's going on? What does all of this mean? You know, so that would be a sample of a hook, you know, right? So like that attention grab, that hook that grabs their attention, you know, of essentially, you know, your first, you know, that hook might be anywhere from a few seconds up to 10 or 15 seconds, but that's the, okay, should I continue investing my time to watch this? So we got the hook. Then after the hook, that gets into your intro and your initial call to action. So part 2 of the framework is then intro / call to action, CTA. So we got done with the hook. Right when I get done saying the hook, then I would lead into, again, the intro and call to action, which might be, something like this. Hey, Joshua Smith here with XYZ Real Estate. And as much as I love making these videos, I love even more helping my amazing clients buy and sell real estate here and help them with their real estate needs here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. If you have any real estate questions or any real estate needs that I can serve, support, help with, my name, I wouldn't say my name, my name's already here, but my cell, my email is below. Text, call, email me anytime. I'm just ad-libbing here with you guys. So obviously I'd be polished on these, before I went out there and created the video, but just give you examples on the fly here of what this could look like. So that is an intro, Joshua Smith here, local real estate professional here in the specializing here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And as much as I love making these videos for you, I love even more helping my amazing clients and serve and support my real estate clients buying and selling real estate here in the Phoenix market. So if you or anybody that is looking to buy, sell real estate, or has any real estate specific questions, feel free to call, email, text anytime. My contact information is below, and then boom. Now I've transitioned from that. I went from the hook, and then the second part of that is the intro and that call to action, right? Because I can intro them and say, hey, Joshua Smith here, local real estate professional, but if I'm not giving that call to action, if I'm not prompting them to take action, to reach out to me, you're not going to get people reaching out. You got to insert, that intro of letting people know who you are, but then tell them when and how to get in touch with you, who you serve, and so forth. All right, then that slides us into part number 3 of the framework, which is the actual content itself. So with this part of the framework, I call this content / engagement CTAs. So CTA stands for call to action. So this is going to be the main meat of the content itself. But then when you're going through the main content, if it applies, and whenever possible, insert engagement call to actions. And engagement call to actions are just getting them to comment on certain things. So maybe I'm talking about pros and cons of living here in the Phoenix, Arizona. Maybe one of the cons is that, hey, during the summertime, it gets hot here. So about 3 months where it's consistently above 100 degrees, then we get into the July and August months. And, there's stretches where it might be, a week, 2 weeks, which is like 110 plus straight, each and every day. In that, some people might perceive that as a con. Well, engagement call to action is, well, before I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, I used to live in Michigan. So 18 years ago, I moved here to Phoenix, Arizona. Prior to that, I lived in Michigan, and there I had to shovel the snow and deal with the gray days and the cold winters. And personally, I'd rather deal with a little bit of heat than having to shovel all that snow and freezing my ass off and so forth. And just out of curiosity, which would you rather prefer? Or maybe it's I found that anywhere that I live, there's always a few months out of the year that isn't always ideal. So just out of curiosity, I mean, would you rather deal with the heat or the rain or the cold? Whatever. Like just getting them to engage, insert wherever it makes sense, because YouTube is the more that you can get people engaging on your channel. And we'll talk about this more here in one of the steps coming up. But the more that you can get them commenting and engaging on your channel, the more successful your channel is going to be, the more YouTube's going to push you with the algorithm, and so forth. Then from there, after the main content, that is just your ending CTA. And I'm utilizing the same CTA that we do in the intro CTA here. So it's just another reminder of who you are, what you do, what area that you serve, with that call to action for them to reach out. So I hope you found this information or this video helpful. Again, Joshua Smith here. I'm a local real estate professional here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And as much as I love making these videos, I love even more serving and support my real estate clients at the highest possible level, buying and selling real estate here in the Phoenix area. So whether it's you or anybody that that's looking to buy, sell, or just if you have general real estate questions, feel free to call, text, email anytime. My contact information is below in the description. Feel free to reach out, call anytime. I do answer my phone. I do return messages, right? Just that ending CTA. All right. So guide step number 2, if you will, YouTube guide step number 2 is the 4-step, again, video framework. So we got your hook, which is the attention grabber. Then after the hook and the attention grabber, so that's really like what your title is, like, right? It's like not what your title is word for word, but that's what you're going to be talking about, but you're doing it in an enticing way. That's the attention grabber. Then after the attention grabber, then we jump into your intro and your initial call to action. Then we jump into the content. And within that content, as much as you possibly can, inserting engagement CTAs in there, when it makes sense. with that, then finalizing that video with the ending CTA. Okay, so step number 3 is the title. So when you're writing out the title, now you get the video created, and then when you upload, you click that little plus button, which you can't miss it. It's kind of in the top over to the right, anywhere that you're at in your YouTube channel, you will see it anywhere in there as long as you're logged in. You're going to drop in the video. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is put in your title. Now with the title, it's really important to, just think about, okay, well, what are people plugging into the keyboard? Like you want to have the main keywords that people are plugging into the keyboard into YouTube, right? The more that you're so you're typing it, like you're naming it the way that they'd be typing it or thinking of it in their head. The more that you can do this, the better. Now, again, with TubeBuddy, which I talked about earlier, awesome, amazing tool. It does cost a little bit of money, but it's super cheap. Highly recommend it. For those of you that want to push this to the highest possible level, you can plug in a title. That just think of whatever the title might be in your head, and then it'll go through and give you a score, and then you can go out there and see competitive videos and ways to optimize that and improve that, and so forth with that. But as much as you possibly can, utilizing the keywords, like major keyword for whatever topic is that you're hitting on, and typing in the way that people would be typing it into YouTube. So it's like, top things to know before moving to Phoenix, Arizona. Like that would be something that people are typing in, the keyboard, with that. Okay. So then now we got the title. So you got your video uploaded, you got the title, then below that is the description. And this might sound basic, but essentially you're just writing a description of what the video is all about, but you want to fill this thing with as many keywords that are related to the video, as well as just keywords that you want to dominate with your channel with. So maybe it might be, like you can, below your paragraph and then your call to actions, like you can have like 5,000 words or more. I think it's 5,000 in there. So you can layer this stuff in there, with the description. So I might have a, kind of a paragraph or so description of what the video is about. Then all my links with my call to actions, below that. So like my, cell number, my email, link to my website, link to all my social media, all of that. Then below that, right, I might have more paragraphs of like about me and other keywords that I want to get known for and dominate in my market, top realtor in, XYZ, and so forth. So you want to fill that description with as many keywords as you possibly can as you're going through. All right, so then next from there, and there's other things to, set up and do, is you're adding these videos, or that you can do. I'm just going through the most important elements and the most important things that are going to allow you to optimize at the highest possible level. So the next essential thing are your tags. So tags, again, are going to link with keywords about what your video is about. So just whatever your video is focused on, so like with this video, the tags are going to be things like, YouTube for realtors, YouTube for real estate, YouTube for real estate agents, right? Like it's going to be layered with, I'm going to get YouTube and then realtors, real estate agents, team lead, whatever, in there. Video marketing for realtors. Like, a buddy of mine, Mike Sherrard, who I recently had on the podcast, he does a great job with YouTube as well. He gave a great just overall description of a way to think about this. So if you were just looking at the keywords that you're plugging in there, you should be able to know what that video is going to be about without even seeing the title, reading the description. So that's kind of the key important element with the tags. Now, I do recommend to have some of the tags in there with your name. So I might have like Joshua Smith Realtor, Joshua Smith, Phoenix Realtor, because you get like, 500 words of characters within your tag. So you can add, quite a few tags in there, so I'm going to have, I might have 3, 4, half a dozen keywords that like, I just want that are going to be on every video, almost like my main channel tags, that, people are searching up that they can find me that I want to get known for. But then, so it might be like 10% of my tags are on that. And then 90% are going to be all based on what the video is. And again, if you're utilizing TubeBuddy, it might sound like I'm a salesman for them, but I'm not. You can do affiliates, but I don't even do affiliates with them, right? It's just a system I use. I love, like, they'll give you, different recommendations, and there's tag research in there. So they'll give a bunch of recommendations, relevant scores on them, and I just click it and it adds them for me, makes it super simple, from there. Okay, so we got tags. Next thing is the thumbnail. So thumbnails are really important. People are going to make it's almost like, think of this when you go through Netflix and or Hulu or whatever it is that you're watching a video on. When you're going through there, like you see the title, but people are going to judge, what this is the book of the cover, man. This is what that preview of the video is, on Netflix. This is, again, that preview. This is the movie poster or whatever. So people are going to click on your video for one of two reasons, either the thumbnail or the title. And hopefully it's a combination of both. So with your title, highly recommend that you have a picture of you, because you want to be branding you, your face, you're the star of your channel, if you will. Have you on the right side of the thumbnail. And then on the left side, have some words, try to keep it short, 3, 4, 5 words. Because remember, a lot of people are going to watch this on mobile, so what it might look like on your computer when you're uploading this, you've got to make sure that it's able to be easily read and pops on mobile as well. So, 3 to 5 words, is good, right? From there. Now, it should complement your title, but not be the same as your title. So complement your title, but not, so I'm not going to use the same title with that, so if I'm, having, 5 things you must know before moving, to Phoenix, Arizona, then I might, for my title, it might say like something like, before you, must know, before moving to Phoenix, something like that, right? So just something that complements it, and so forth. And then from there, if you're using something like TubeBuddy, or you can just go on and, search other top videos, whether they're in your market or just, a lot of my stuff is R&D. Okay. Like who are other real estate professionals crushing on this stuff in other markets that have established channels I know are doing well. Great example of this is Will Grimes, Eli Schmidt, out of they're living in Denver, Colorado, their page. They just absolutely murder it. You got, Chris Igo living in Southern Florida. There are a lot of different channels out there that are amazing channels, okay, like I can kind of see what they're doing, whatever, a little bit R&D. But if you're utilizing TubeBuddy though, I can go in there and put in my title, and then do a comparison and see top viewed channels or videos that have that same title and so forth, and kind of compare my thumbnails, based on those and so forth. So, when it comes to your click-through rate, meaning people clicking on your video, again, it's going to come down to your thumbnail and your title. And you really want your click-through rate to be 5% or greater. I mean, that's what I'm always looking at when I'm jumping in the analytics. So a quick additional note here before we get into step number 7. When you're uploading your video, you're going to see an area where you can add like end cards and add or adding cards and end screens and all of that stuff. I have found that that's not, can't be effective and can't help optimize your channel. I found it to be like the least important thing out of all the different features to add on your channel. So I don't recommend focusing on those. Same thing like when you create your channel, like, you got an area when you're setting up like the branding element where you can add a trailer for those that aren't subscribers, and then add, a video that subscribers see, with those different things. I mean, those can all be things down the road that you can add if you choose to, but I find those things to make like the least amount of overall impact when it comes to stuff. So like I said, with these 12 steps, in this video, I wanted to focus on the things that make the biggest overall impact for you. Okay, so then from there, you're publishing your video. It's going to ask you in there, okay, is it made for kids? If it's not made for kids, this is the GSD mode channel, the get shit done mode channel, and unfortunately, I don't have the cleanest of mouths, out there, so mine isn't going to be published for kids, right? But you can select, those things. Do you want to allow embedding? I recommend to click yes. If you want to have automatic chapters, I found it doesn't necessarily matter from an overall growth standpoint if you have chapters or don't have chapters. Some things that you can auto select on there, and deselect on there as you're uploading it. So then from there, we got to publish. Now that you've got, again, now at this point, you got your video uploaded, you've picked out your thumbnail, you've got your title, you got your descriptions, you've got your tags. Like now you're good to go out there and publish it. Now, what I recommend is, because YouTube rewards consistency. And when I talk about rewards, I'm talking about they're going to push your channel further and show it for more eyeballs, and have their algorithm push your channel out. One thing I love about YouTube is it's almost a free assistant that if we're giving YouTube what they want and showing them that we're a valuable partner, partner because they want to maximize time on site and those things, that they'll push us that much harder. So the more consistent that you are, the more results that you're going to get. So I recommend, be consistent, but publish same days, same times, and so forth. So I recommend to go in there and schedule. Like, you can publish it live when you're created it, but I recommend to go in and schedule it and just have it getting consistent, so people know. Then it's like, I publish mine at 5 a.m. every Monday through Friday, right? Or typically Monday through Friday. But it's always at 5 a.m. So schedule that ahead of time. This way too, you could batch content, so like a friend of mine recently had a baby, and she knew she was going to be on maternity leave. So she created a bunch of content before that, but then pre-scheduled all of these. So it was like, nobody would know that she was out on maternity leave as far as YouTube viewers and so forth. It wasn't just like, oh, what happened to, so-and-so, used to create consistent content. Now I haven't seen him for months, right? Like, it allows you to go out there and do that. Okay. So, so step number 7, publishing the content. Now, step number 8 is to be consistent. So YouTube wants to see that you are a consistent partner they can rely on. And it doesn't matter if you're like, I don't allow paid ads on my channel, because it's like, dude, like, I'm not a Mr. Beast, right? Like, I don't have millions and millions or billions of views. I know my channel, it's very niche down to real estate professionals. I think with estimations, like, dude, I might make $1,000, $2,000 a month from ad revenue. To me, it's not worth it to go out there and create a worse experience for you guys. So I don't allow ads on my channel. But it doesn't matter whether you're allowing ads or not allowing ads. All of this stuff matters. It's all built into their algorithm where it matters. So they want to see that you're consistently publishing content, and consistently, not just, but a certain amount of period over time. Like, the more that you prove to them that I'm not going anywhere, I'm consistent, the better. So be consistent. So I recommend to start with 1 video a week. And then once you got that down, so make sure you're same day, same time, release schedule, and then once you got that down, then ideally move up to 2 a week. 2 a week is kind of that sweet spot, man, where it's just, it's doable. It's very impactful. And we find that, 3 a week isn't really any better than 2 a week, and so forth, but 2 a week is a hell of a lot better, more momentum than 1 a week, but I find if you start out of the gate of, I'm going to do 2 a week and go at this, it can be a little overwhelming, a little much, at first. So, I recommend just start like, okay, every Tuesday or every Monday, and then get to the point where you're either every Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Thursday, around that release schedule. Okay. So, that is number 8. So be consistent. All right. So, step number 9, is video length. So again, speaking of sweet spots, we find that ideal video length, especially for real estate professionals, being that 8 to 20 minute mark. I know on my channel here, not that you got to abide by this stuff. Like, my stuff's more long form. You're not going to see a lot of stuff at 8 minutes on my channel. You're going to see stuff usually from, 30 minutes. Sometimes 15 minutes, but usually around 30 minutes, all the way up to, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have some videos on my channel, like 10 hours, right, which are, recorded speaking events with a lot of guest speakers and so forth out there. So I'm not saying you got to stick to these things, but from my from an agent side, like my agents that are crushing with their YouTube channel, that are trying to get buyers and sellers, find that the 8 to 20 minute, range is really that sweet spot, for overall video length. Okay. So number 10, pin a comment. So once your video is uploaded, then go in and comment yourself. And then with that comment, just a call to action, another way of engagement, ask a question, like one of your call to actions that you inserted in your video, for engagement, whatever it may be, have a call to action. It doesn't have to do with the video. You could just say, drop a line of, where you're currently at, and, why you're thinking about moving to Phoenix, Arizona, whatever it may be. But just entice people so you can pin that comment and entice people to go out there and engage more with your comments and so forth. Then from there, so you got that pinned comment, if it applies, you don't always have to do this, but if it makes sense and applies to that piece of content that you're creating. But regardless, every single comment that you get, make sure that you're going and checking your channel daily. When you go into the managed channel area, which is where you can see all your analytics and so forth, you're going to go in there on the left side, left column, you're going to see an area that says comments. Click on that comments area, and you can sit there and see all the new comments that are coming in, or not new, old, you can see them all, but you can filter it just for new comments that you haven't replied to. Then from there, you're going to like it, you're going to heart it, and you're going to reply back. And this is up to you, but even the negative comments, you're going to get some haters. People, there's always, bully badasses behind a damn keyboard. They're fucking cowards that, try to be tough behind a keyboard. It's like, I've spoke on maybe 1,000 stages and maybe that's an exaggeration. It feels like 1,000 stages. There's some I haven't tallied, but I've done a lot of public speaking.
to a lot of, I mean, probably at this point, 100,000 plus agents, over the years with all the events and speaking gigs I've done. I've never had one person to me in a live in-person event come up and talk shit. But I have about, 24 people, a week that talk shit online. Boy, if we were face to face, they would not be talking shit. But because they're behind a keyboard and they feel safe and cozy, whatever, they're going to talk some smack. I mean, it's inevitable. You're going to have somebody, people live, a lot of people live just miserable damn lives. So they have nothing better to do than, go tear down, other people as they're, guarded behind their keyboard. So it's going to happen. Right now you can make a decision there either to delete them, or to go out there and reply to that. And then when you're replying to it, you can talk shit again, back forth through them, and it's going to lead to more engagement, or what I recommend is, keeping your channel professional. So then, like replying back in a tactful way, because you might be able to win them over, or just reply back in a tactful way where you kind of kill them with kindness, makes them look kind of like an idiot anyways, and so forth. You can delete it too, but you're just going to lose that engagement. So, if view count, subscriber count, all that stuff is important to you, even the bad comments, leaving them on there, with that. Like my rule of thumb is when I do a lot of podcasts. So like, if you were interviewing local business owners in your area or whatever, like I interview a lot of top real estate professionals from all over on this channel. If the comment is about me, I don't give a shit. But if it is on a podcast, and it is, somebody talking shit about one of my guests, out of respect for the guests, like I just delete it, remove it, and, whatever, for that. So whatever you want to come up with there. Okay. So then, tip number 11. Now, this isn't so much about YouTube per se, but this is how to go out there and repurpose this content in a quick, easy way to go out there and take advantage of getting more reach, getting more now Google SEO and so forth, now that you've already optimized all the YouTube stuff, which is to grab. So you go into your YouTube video, you can grab the embed code. So if you go into edit your video, or if anywhere you're watching your video, as long as you're logged in your site, you're going to see a share button. You click on that, you'll be able to grab this embed code. So I'm going to embed that. Then I go into my website blog. So, I use Perfect Storm for my website and CRM. So I can go in there and on my website blog, now I just embed that video. And then, so I embed the video so that they'll watch the video, that YouTube video lives inside my website. Right. And then I'll take the title. I'll use that as the title of the blog. Then I'll have the YouTube embed. Then below that, I will copy the description and then all of my contact information, links, all of that in there. Now then, boom, that becomes a blog, vlog, whatever. So now I'm taking advantage of all the YouTube SEO, getting all that YouTube juice, but then now I've got it on the website Google side. So I'm getting double power. And this takes me it's copy and paste. So it takes me 30 seconds, right? Then I take the tags that I use, the main tags that I utilize for that video, and I plug into my SEO tagging feature in Perfect Storm for my blog, to go out there and grow that, right? Because people, going to be some people are going to be searching this stuff on YouTube, some are going to be searching this stuff on Google, and I find it's just a quick, easy way. Content's already created. Like repurposing is so powerful. Okay, so step number 12 here is the types of content. I look at this, I'm going to give some examples here, but just to kind of get the wheel spinning in your head, I look at this is, okay, the consumers, let's just say, they're going to be on Zillow. Like we know everybody's on Zillow, dude, right? Like, okay. So on Zillow, what can they find on Zillow? Well, they can find the house itself. Well, you got the house. I look at there's two elements when anybody's buying a home, buying a property. You got what takes place inside that house. When they turn that doorknob, walk inside that house, they got their life on the property inside the house. All that they can see on Zillow. But there's a second element to this of what their life is like outside of the house. And you can't find that on Zillow. You cannot find that on Realtor.com. You cannot find that anywhere. So that is what my YouTube channel is going to be about. Right? Is that lifestyle outside of the property. Like I know when we're been looking to move right now. And it's like, the house is important, but also like, I want to know what the schools are. I want to know the shit to do for fun. I want to know what the recreation is. Like all those other elements are as important, if not more important than the house. To me, it's different. But the house for me is 4 walls and a roof. I got to have a place to sleep, cook, eat, right. And that's, enough room for my dogs, my kids. And that's about it. Like to me, I care about the other shit, right. Now everybody's going to have importance of both that matter to them, so again, and this is why I spend time on Zillow, not because I market on Zillow or buy leads from Zillow. I don't buy leads from any third-party source out there, but I want to say, okay, like what are they showcasing? What are they doing a good job at? Because I know there's 100+ million unique visitors every single month. So I know there's eyeballs on there. my YouTube channel or my blog, as well, is going to be everything that doesn't have, right? So all that lifestyle stuff. So things that we crush with and highly recommend are pros and cons videos. So, whether it's pros and cons of living in XYZ city. So pros and cons of living in Phoenix, Arizona. And so like in Phoenix Metro, so Phoenix itself, but then I've got the Phoenix Metropolitan is made up of these 30 different cities, so then I can go, top pros and cons of living in Phoenix, Arizona, top pros and cons of living in Peoria, Arizona, top pros and cons of, living in Glendale, Arizona. So whether it's top pros and cons or just pros and cons, or whether it's top 5 pros and cons, all of those different styles work great. So, if I'm having some, it's just starting up a channel, I tell them for all the cities that you work, start off by doing like a pros and cons style video. And then the next one is a cost of living video. So cost of living, you can talk about, average real estate prices, but then from there, like what's the average gas price versus, the national average? What's the average utility bill? Like all those cost of, average cost of living, like what's it cost living there, versus, if somebody wants to move here to Phoenix, Arizona, what's the cost of living here, versus Detroit, Michigan, right? But then the cool thing is if I got 30 different cities in my metro that make this up, I'm going to do those 2 videos for each one of these, right? And I'll start with those, style videos, get through, those, and then that gives me a lot of content. That's like a year's worth of content to start creating. Then from there, like top X, top however many reasons to live in XYZ city. So top 10 reasons to live in Surprise, Arizona, top 10 reasons to, and it can be different for each city. If I can only find 7 reasons or 5 reasons, I'll do five or 7 or whatever it may be. X number of things you must, so either things you must know before moving to, or if you can come up with, it's most effective we find if you can come up with a finite number. So, top 7 things you must know before moving to Surprise, Arizona, which is where I'm at right now, about 30 minutes from downtown Phoenix. It's a suburb of Phoenix where my studio is located, right? So, things you must know before moving to XYZ. So again, anything that's lifestyle related that they can't find on real estate. So, how are the, talking about the schools, the top neighborhoods to live in, all that lifestyle stuff, top, whether it's hiking, like, and you'll kind of find your rhythm, and it's going to differentiate based on your ideal client as well, what's important to them, and so forth, but fun things to do, all that kind of lifestyle stuff. But I just recommend to start with pros and cons, cost of living, and then knock out like the, top 5 things to do or whatever in, just those ones we just went through, those examples that we went through. So get your pros and cons, get your top X reasons to live in each of the cities that you work, X number of things you must know before moving to XYZ, and then cost of living, like so that's 4 videos to crank out for every single city or town that you work within your location, which I know, the average is probably what, a dozen that all of us are working, for any area that we're at. Maybe it's only 1 or 2, right? That'll help you knock those out that much quicker, with that. So, all right, so those are the top 12 things to go out there and do, step-by-step things to go out there and optimize and maximize your YouTube channel. So I know this is a lot, but created this. I wanted to break these down so you can kind of pause this, play this, pause this, use this as a reference guide, and so forth as needed. So I hope that you found this helpful. Keep crushing it, keep kicking ass. Truly appreciate all of your support. If you're on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get alerted every time I release a new video. Plus, it just helps, when you subscribe, when you like, you comment, drop a comment, let me know where you're watching from. All of that stuff helps the overall juice on YouTube. Or if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Podcasts, where iTunes Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, whatever the hell they're all called, we're kind of everywhere now. If you're able to comment or leave us a 5-star review, that definitely helps support the channel in a way that you can help me out for creating these videos. So anyway, truly appreciate you guys. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and I will see you next time. Peace.